And journalist Don Lemon pleading not guilty in a federal courtroom in Minnesota today. He's charged with conspiring to deprive others of their civil rights with violating the FACE Act, which prohibits the use of force to interfere with someone's religious freedoms as protected under the First Amendment. Now, this case stems from his live stream coverage of an anti-immigration and ICE protest that interrupted a church service in St. Paul last month. So for more on this case, I'm joined now by ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer. And Brian, first, Lemon, he's an independent journalist who was working protected under the First Amendment. I want to get your take of something that he said outside of court today. Take a listen.
This isn't just about me. This is about all journalists, especially here in the United States. I will not be intimidated. I will not back down. I will fight these baseless charges, and I will not be silenced.
You hear him there saying, I will not be silenced. But, I mean, what is his exposure here if he's convicted?
Alex, it's a lot. There are two main charges here. There's a violation of the FACE Act, or the freedom of access of clinic entrances, and that also covers churches as well. That's punishable by up to 1 year in prison. But he's also facing a charge for violating or conspiring, to violate someone's constitutional rights. That has a penalty of 10 years in prison, so 11 years in total if convicted.
Well, there are a lot of folks that are concerned about how this might impact the First Amendment, especially whenever it comes to the press and freedom of speech.
Absolutely. So this, especially as the DOJ is arguing, is about competing interests of individuals being able to participate in the religion and in church, and also the First Amendment right. But I think there is some confusion in the way that the DOJ is applying this, because it appears that it wasn't Don Lemon's intent to disrupt people's ability to go to church, but he was recording others disrupting. And I can see this being a potential infringement on the First Amendment right to be able to document things of this nature, because he's being, what I understand to be, embedded in this group, and it's going to affect a lot of journalists. I mean, Alex, you and I have talked about this. I make the joke that I'm just an attorney, you're the actual reporter, but this is a part of what reporters do. They embed themselves in groups and then show us the inside out. And if there's a ruling unfavorably to Don Lemon here, it would really ask the question of, what if someone's going to a war zone? What if someone's going and interviewing drug cartels and getting information that we want? Are they now war heroes or war villains or part of those cartels? It could limit the way that the media does its job.
Yeah, no, well, and that's a really good point. Something else that's interesting about this case, Lemon's attorney is one of several federal prosecutors who recently resigned from the Minnesota U.S. Attorney's Office over the investigation into the fatal shooting of Renee Good. So I'm curious, I mean, what type of expertise do they bring to this specific case?
So I wouldn't say it's like necessarily a legal expertise. Someone who is not within that organization, who never was, and now is defending someone, would have a similar expertise legally. But they're going to know the inner workings, not just of that investigation or of that process that this government agency is going through, but also the actual office that's prosecuting Don Lemon. They're going to know the deputies. They're going to know the line prosecutors. They're going to know the paralegals. They're going to know how it works, and they're going to know where to apply pressure and where to poke holes in this case.
Brian Buckmeyer, not just an attorney, he's also our legal analyst and an esteemed one at that. Thank you.